Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Gurp Dhaliwal from Captureyesstudio, and in today's video, I'm going to be playing with the full face of Wet n Wild beauty products. There was definitely some hits and some misses. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and then please hit that bell notification so you are notified every time I upload. So without further ado, let's get started. For brows, I have this guy right here. I used to use Wet n Wild all the time when I first started doing makeup, so that was over 10 years ago, but I found this online. I ordered from the Wet n Wild website. So it has the powders right there, and it comes with this little tiny brush. Start off with the darker shade. I haven't used a brow powder in so long, so this feels really weird. But a brow powder is really nice because it's a bit more softer. It's a bit dark than what I'm used to. I don't have a corrector from them, so I'm gonna go in with some concealer. This one is in light medium beige. I've never used this before, so I'm intrigued. I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this underneath the eyes. So it's quite brightening. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to foundation. And for foundation, I've actually used their foundation before, and this is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in Golden Beige. Applicator is like a spatula. So that's what it looks like. Not a huge fan of the applicator. And maybe I'll do one side so you guys can see. And I think this shade was a little light for me, but let's see. I'm just going to take the end of the Beauty Blender. I have used this before and I like it. It has a really nice finish. So that's one side. You guys can see that it covered everything very nicely compared to this side that's still, you can see some of my discoloration and redness. I'm gonna go in with that concealer again and just brighten underneath my eyes. I feel like it's a little drying. I feel like there are a lot of other drugstore concealers that I've tried that are a bit better. I feel like I have to keep digging in there. It's like very dried. It is quite brightening, which I like. So I got this Wet n Wild brush set. I'm going to use this brush, P55, and I'm going to use the Wet n Wild. This is the loose setting powder in translucent. This powder right here, I've never used this again. This is huge, by the way. So it's a sifter like this. So I need to peel that off. Peeling this off. I'm checking if there's a scent because the Jeffree Star one, which is the latest powder that I've tried, definitely has a scent. This doesn't seem like it has much of a scent. I'm just going to put it in the back of the cap. I'm going to take my Beauty Blender, tap out any of my creases. Now I'm going to bake with this as well. So I'm just taking a little sponge, picking up the product, and I'm going to push this underneath my eyes. Ooh, that packed on quite nicely. The product does seem to be very finely milled. I'm going to take that brush we were using and brush this away. Sadly, to set my face, I got the Wet n Wild pressed powder, but it came broken in the mail, which is horrible. Powder did a decent job underneath the eyes. I did feel like it was drying up the skin a little bit because I can start telling in certain areas. Okay, this is completely broken. Ooh, since it's all crumbled. Just set my face a little bit. I'm going to move on to blush, and for blush I have used this so many times. I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Mellow Wine. I actually really love the Wet n Wild blushes. My mom has one that she uses all the time and it's so good. It's so nice. They're actually very pigmented and I really like how they blend onto the skin. I'm going to be taking the P60 brush from Wet n Wild. I'm going to pick up the product. You guys can see how pigmented. The brushes are really soft and they have a good weight to them. For my highlight, this is the Wet n Wild Mega Jelly highlighter. I remember when this first came out, this was such a huge thing. You guys have been in the comment section down below because I feel like we haven't chatted in so long. So please let me know how you're doing. I hope everything's well with you guys. And I hope you guys have been checking out my mini tutorials on Instagram. I did a how to pin your dupatta, which you guys loved. I went to a wedding, so I decided just to film it. And then I also posted that same tutorial in Punjabi, so you guys can check that out here. I'll leave a link like here, so make sure you guys go check that out. So much product just on that little seal. Okay, so I'm going to be taking the P65 brush, which looks like this. I hope this goes well and it doesn't look crazy, so let's see what happens. I hit the highest part of my cheeks. Okay, so don't use a brush for this. Go in with a blender. I've never used this product before, so I'm not too sure how to apply it. Let's try fingers. And then I'm gonna dab it out with the beauty blender. So it really sticks to where you place it. So you have to be very careful with this product. It's not really blending that well. So brush was a no-go. Fingers, you can like dab it on. Maybe if I just go directly, picking it up with the beauty blender. I really like that product. I really like how that went on. A little tricky to work with, but it did the job. I also have the Wet n Wild. These are the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powders. This one is in Precious Petals. You guys have seen me use this before. That formula is amazing. It's so good. I picked up 2 palettes from them. This is the My Glamour Squad palette. It has some beautiful transition shades in there. And then I also picked up the Bed of Roses, which is gorgeous. When I first started doing makeup, I actually used a lot of Wet n Wild eyeshadows. Back then I was in grade 12, so that was more of what I could afford. But honestly, the formulas were so good. The pigmentation was bang on. They were very comparable to MAC shadows. These are some of the face brushes, and I'm going to start off with this brush right here, P20 brush. I'm just going to pick up the shade that they suggest is a transition shade. I'm going to work this into my upper crease. I'm going to jump into this shade right here. It's a little bit more warmer. I'm just going to place that right underneath it. So this brush is nice. Whoa, that's a lot of pigment. They really remind me of some MAC shadows like I was saying before. This was a fraction of the price. And what's amazing is that there isn't that much kickback. There isn't lots of fallout. This is P25. And I'm going to pick up this shade right here. Tuck this in right underneath. I really like these shadows. Love that. Look at that. Look at that blend. So from this palette right here, I'm going to go in with this deeper shade and work that in the outer corners. I'm going to take the P10 brush. I'm also going to take that underneath on the bottom part of my eye. I'm just swirling in this outer corner here. Taking the P15 brush, which is a little bit more flatter. I'm just blending. Do some liner, and this is the Mega Liner in black. So I really like how this brush is actually, it's quite thin, so I can get into the inner corner very easily. So not bad at all. This is a win as well. So far the eye products I'm really loving. So I just popped on some lashes and I had a little fiasco with the under eyes. I looked closer up in the mirror and the under eyes were looking very dull and yellow. So what I had to do was I went in with a little bit more concealer and then I set it again, but it just went dull and dark again. And I was looking at what it was and it's definitely the powder. The powder for me is a no-go. So just wanted to give you a comparison. I really like when the under eye is brightening. So the Jeffree Star translucent powder is a lot more white toned, and then this translucent powder that we did use today has a little bit more of like a yellow tint to it. So that's probably why it was doing that. So I probably wouldn't use that powder again just because it's not my preference. But now I'm going to move on to the rest of the look and just complete everything. For the lips, I picked up this from Wet n Wild, which has a bunch of mini size lip products in it. As for lip liner, I only have a brown toned lip liner or a red one that I picked up. So I'm just going to go with this guy. This is in Chestnut. Ooh, that's a pigmented liner. So I overlined a little bit at the top. Going with this guy right here. These beautiful earrings and tikka are from SKG Creations. They're actually located in Edmonton. I hope you guys enjoyed all of this full face Wet n Wild tutorial. Some of these products I had never used before. I really loved the shadows and the liner and the foundation. I wasn't a huge fan of the under eye concealer and powder and how they kind of mingled together. It was really fun doing this kind of tutorial to see what I really liked and what I didn't, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Please hit that notification bell so you guys are notified every time I upload a video, and please give me a big thumbs up, and I'll catch you in my next one. Thanks guys for watching.